Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. Today we're looking at arguably the most difficult clan boss in the game now since the most recent changes to trials and how important they are. And to do that, I've got first time guests on the channel, Snackbox. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Thanks for having me. I'm really looking forward to discuss this with you, and I think there are some interesting things we can talk about here. And
Mm,
yeah,
yeah, for sure. I mean, your channel is definitely you're recently a member of the official content creator program as well, but like definitely from looking at your channel, you've got some really good Chimera content, which definitely stands out because I mean, there's not too many people covering it in the same depth and detail that you're doing. So yeah, if you guys are looking for really good Chimera help, you know where to go now. There you go. It's locked in. But yeah, like one of the big thing they've changed recently is not only have they added way more mythical materials to trials, but they've also, in particular, at Ultra Nightmare, there's now a 3-star basalt and a 4-star up for grabs every single week. And people are you? I presume you might be doing this as well, running Ultra Nightmare twice a week instead of that's what I'm doing anyway, and most of my clan at this point.
yeah, definitely, 100%. It's just much better because the rewards from the Nightmare chest are just not worth it, and
Yeah.
also the rewards from the Nightmare trials are just much lower. So it
Mm.
is much more beneficial to run Ultra Nightmare twice and get more mythical mets. It just adds up over time, and you get more chances for mythical relics, which is really what everybody is after.
Yeah, exactly. Can I ask you what is like we're going to talk about some teams like in this video and we're going to talk more in depth over on your channel, but like it's very difficult to make a team. Do you have like a record from any week to give us like a bit of a vibe for like how many were you able to get all the mythical materials in one of the weeks, for example?
Not a single time
No,
with
me
my
neither.
account.
Too
No,
hard.
not a single time. It's too hard.
Yeah.
Like you need specific champions, specific comps for
Yeah.
each week. If you don't have those champions, most of the time there's like one team that gets all the rewards, and if you don't have one of those champions, then
Mm.
you might be cooked.
Yeah. Do you want to like break down like what are the I don't know, just a few of the champions that are really core to getting all of those mythical materials because it's changing every week, but you said there's a bit of a core.
Yeah, yeah. So there's like one that is not a mythical, surprisingly. That is Fina. It's a
Oh.
Unity champion, which is enabling so many things
Hmm.
because she just does so many things, basically, right?
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
yeah,
That's true. It's not a mythical, but arguably as hard to get as a mythical. Fina. So
maybe
yeah.
even harder.
Um
Maybe even.
and I guess she's combined with the Galathier. That's one thing that is sad for me is like she's so much better to use with that extra turn with the Galathier, and without that, she's not quite as good, I find, in the trials. But I guess Galathier's in there as well. Super safe,
Definitely,
opens up
100%.
trials. Yeah. Hmm.
Yes. He's just one of the best revivers in the game, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's PvP or PvE content or like the Chimera.
Mm.
His turn meter boost is just so amazing. Then he cleanses. Then he, has an AoE revive.
Yeah.
Uh, so many things. Also, what he does as a reviver, and that is exactly what you're after. Like champions that do multiple things at once, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'll look at my team in a minute as well. I actually use Androck. I use Androck Form too because he's doing some weird stuff. I had a very weird team comp last week. We'll look at it in a sec. I mean, are there any other like massive trial champs to call out? One I would call out. I've seen you use him on your channel would be Firal, being
Yes.
very strong because again, so many of these buffs that are kind of unusual that are again opening up trials. Plus, he's also giving you loads of stats and damage, so it makes the
Yes.
damage stuff easier because that can be tough, right? Whatever, 750k in a single hit. Like I was trying that with Balar, and I was like, man, I don't have the gear or the soul to pull it off. He's just not
Oh
quite
man.
there, not
Tell
quite
me
there.
about it.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. I've been struggling with this guy so much. I don't have, a single awakening level on mine,
Oh
and he's
yeah.
just not hitting hard enough. Doesn't matter what I do. I have like, I don't know, 8k attack, 300 something crit damage. It doesn't matter. I
right?
can't do it.
I mean, it was devastating. I think I did it on the stream, and I think I gave him a cat's gaze, and then that gets really expensive swapping that around. But I gave him the cat's gaze and spent that star stone, and I was like, oh, it's still not quite enough, so I have to pay then to swap the cat's gaze back. And you're like, oh, free gears changes, brilliant, but what free relic changes and free blessing changes when raid? Come on, let's go. Next step. Let's keep the ball rolling.
Please.
Yeah, insane. I've seen other mythicals crop up a lot, and obviously this is quite different. Oh, my game's a bit frozen from the Titus teams, which are a big thing. I've done videos on it. I'm assuming you have as well. With the Titus keys, so for example, I've got this one Titus key I've used up here, for example. That does crazy damage. So if you're trying to win Chimera Clash, insanely good, right? It just does so much damage, and there's a few trials I find it does really well at. But because of the nature of Titus requiring, he sort of needs the Wixwell and needs some buff extenders, etc. You are a bit more limited in the champions you put in, and it sort of cuts out a bunch of trials you just simply cannot do. And then that's how our clan's been doing it anyway. We're doing big damage, go Titus teams. We're doing trials this week. We're not caring about Clash. Okay, we're going to score pretty low. We're going to try get as many mythical material trials done as possible. Do you do a similar sort of thing as well?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty common thing for clans now
Yeah.
to, either decide if they want to go for trials and max out their mythical mats, or if they want to go like with damage. But most of the time, the top end clans, they tend to rather just go for the mythical mats because the
Mm,
clash rewards are just not there
yeah.
yet.
Yeah. I've got a video. This was the team I did last week, which is a bit wonky. I didn't bother doing some of the trials, but I brought in kind of a legendary. I think she was guaranteed before, but Gwendolyn the Silent. I think she's been surprisingly useful for a lot of
Yeah,
Chimera teams. Oh, yeah, go
yeah,
on.
she has a lot of debuffs actually.
Yep.
So she opens up a lot of trials for sure. I haven't used her myself yet, but
Mm,
I can definitely see some use in her with
yeah.
all the debuffs and buffs she does.
Yeah. So like what I was trying to do, I was trying to get the 4-star basalt because I was looking at the mythical trials and I was like, oh, the one you got to revive someone against Viper. Oh, I don't want to do that. I only had like a day left to do it, and I was like, yeah, not really arsed. I want to try do something fairly quick. But this is a weird one. So the specific combo, this is such an inaccessible team because we've got Androck. Now he's our decreased defense champion, but it's on his A1 and it's a 1-turn decreased defense and it's not 100%. It's kind of awful, but Gwendolyn actually really good at extending debuffs with her A1. So we're using that sort of weird combo. And then we've got another champion I've seen a few people using for Chimera trials as well, which is Zinogre Blademaster. You can't get her anymore. She was only available during the Monster Hunter event, but she's bringing in actually pretty decent damage. Lots of multi-hits, but she has increased speed for your team, decreased attack, leech, weaken as well. So she's my weaken champion. Though Androck does it too, but she's doing it anyway. So she's doing some fun stuff. But yeah, it was such a wonky team because we've got terrible uptime on decreased defense. Yeah, it's just a bit weird, but we got through and was able to do some of the trials anyway. But yeah, it's just, I kind of enjoy it actually at the moment with Chimera, building a weird team to try to do the trials for that week. If you've got the time, I don't know, it's kind of fun.
It is kind of fun, and that's exactly why I am enjoying it too, because it's not too repetitive, right? It's
Yeah.
not always the same,
hmm
and uh, it gives you some form of, it's like a puzzle you have to solve, and that's what I really like about it. But at the same time, I wish there were more, options
Yeah.
for like the top comps, right, to get all the rewards and so on.
Yes.
So.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
go on.
very limited, but I get what you're saying. It's really fun to like try to make something work,
Yeah.
and if it works in the end, it's super nice. Like it just feels good.
Yeah. Like one thing I've struggled with, for example, I actually really struggle with the Perfect Veil trial, wherever it is. That one for me is really rough. Okay, it's near the top anywhere somewhere because I've barely any good Perfect Veil champions. I think the two I've got on my entire account that would be viable for this. Really, perhaps Ninja sometimes, but probably Tatora.
That's
Or
funny.
just using Rector Draft. Man, I'm like, gosh, I feel like that's where I'm at. I just haven't happened to pull one of the better perfect veil jams. So I'm like, well, shit, that trial's just really freaking hard. Like, I bring in Rector Drath and that's great, but she's not doing much else apart from that. So I'm
Yeah.
like, then doing multiple trials becomes really difficult. I mean, do you have any quick thoughts? Because you've looked at lots of different variants for team comps. Are there any like of these trials that you think are still too difficult, need a nerf, or need more champions added to help deal with them? I like this True Fear one, for example, is kind of quite annoying, I think, unless you've got 2 turns of True Fear. But
Yeah. The true fear is actually now much easier with, a Lydia with Nature's Bounty,
yeah,
like than it was before, because now we don't have the reflect damage. That update was a game changer. It
yes,
like
yes,
it was so much more enjoyable than before. The RAM form,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
so much better. Um, but I think some of these trials should be adjusted still. I mean, they already lowered some of the requirements in terms of damage. Um, but the one on the RAM form, on the trials number
Oh,
3, the
hmm,
hard one, this one is probably one of the most annoying ones, because as like you have to block 7 stuns, right? Using block debuffs,
oh,
intercept, or
yeah,
stone skin. Yeah, right there.
yeah. I hate this one.
And the thing is, they changed it actually now. Like before, it was checking your resistance before the ram form was trying to place the stun. So if you resist them, uh, the block debuffs wouldn't block them.
Yeah,
Now they
yeah.
change it. Now the ram form or the attack is checking your resistance before the block debuffs. So that's good. But the bad thing about this one still is that if you're bringing a strong affinity champion and the ram form weak hits your champion, it's
Oh,
not placing or not trying to place the stun. So you don't know how often I ended up like you have to block 7. How often I ended up with like 6 out of 7.
oh, yeah,
That was,
yeah.
oh my god. Sometimes I lost my mind how many times I had to restart because of that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because I think the way like you basically spend the first rotation of the ram form doing these first two.
Yep.
And then like when you come to the second rotate, you're like, oh, I've got the entire ram form to do this. But the
Yep.
A2, it doesn't stun the first target, so it can only stun 4 at max.
Hmm.
So you get 2 A2, so that's 8 stuns total. You need to block 7 of the 8. And like you said, you get a couple of weak hits, you're kind of screwed. Or you're relying on the A1 to stun a couple of people.
Yeah.
And again, that's super random. It only stuns them if their turn meter is low and if you could weak hit, if their turn meter is high. If they resist the turn meter pushback, anything can happen and it doesn't stun. So yeah, it's like, oh, block 7 stuns. That seems she's stunning me all the time. And then in practice,
Yeah.
it's actually yeah, it's really a pain. I also think it's quite funny. We just don't have that many intercept champs. And who's getting Stone Skin in the middle of a fight? Like our base? I don't know. That's
Yeah,
about
the
it,
mythicals.
probably.
Arbase, Theodosia.
Oh,
Um,
Theodosia. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course. Yeah,
that's
she's
about
great
it,
for this.
I guess.
But yeah. Okay, yeah. Anything else? Any other big champions you would say or roles that are limited? I would personally say I find the poison one to be very frustrating. Just simply
Yep.
because if I'm going in and I'm trying to do lots of trials, that typically means I've got lots of debuffs. And there's only 10 debuff slots. So then if you're trying to do damage with poison, it's like, well, I guess 8 of the debuff slots are full. So I've got like 1 or 2 slots of poison damage, and that's actually absolutely nothing. So I find this one is really difficult. I don't know if you found that annoying. You were using some
Yeah.
Balar stuff. It's still pretty tough with him, even I found. But
Yeah, you have like two options here if you
mm,
want to complete this whole trial chain, and that is either Balar or Theodore. You need a
hmm,
poison activation champion because you need to, like similar to the trial that we talked before on the RAM forum, you need to complete these trials pretty fast in the first cycle so you can do the last one in the second one.
yeah,
So you need poison activation champions, and the only ones that are viable for this is Balar and Theodore.
hmm,
And yeah, Also, what you said with the debuff bar, I've been struggling with that as well. Sometimes I just decided not to place some debuffs, like decrease defense, or weaken,
Mm.
miss out on some damage so I can complete this trial. And yeah, it's very tricky.
Yeah, this is going to be really tough this week. Again, I probably won't bother. Like, what do you do for this one? Do you typically try to let somebody die against the ultimate form so you can revive straight away, get the block revive done, and then get your revive in pretty easy without necrosis wrecking you too much? Is that what you try for this one?
Exactly.
Mm.
That's the best way to do it because you have the full 5 Viper turns to, revive your champion,
Yeah.
cycle your revive back, and
Hmm.
you kind of have enough time. But this week, I would probably just ignore the 4-star assault. It's
Yeah.
not worth the headache.
No, yeah, no. Maybe I might try this one. Does this work with the toxic set? Is it's not 10
Yep.
unique debuff? Like that's something that really annoys me about Chimera is sometimes it's 10 debuffs and it's 10 unique, and sometimes it's 10 debuffs and it's like, use whatever. And they don't properly disclose it. The wording's a bit unclear. Do you know off the top of your head for this one?
Yeah, you can do this one with the toxic set. I usually put my Lydia
Mm,
in
mm.
a toxic set. Normally, I have her in a feral set, in a 9-piece feral set. But for this trial, if it rewards mythical mats, I just swap it like with the toxic set.
Nice. That makes sense. I'm looking here. Ooh, this one is very tricky. I've seen people in my clan do this with a Helicath. So they use Helicath for the shields, for this part, and then Helicath for very good block damage for this one. Any other champions or teams that you could think of that are accessible for this?
Shield buff is, the absorbing damage is also really tricky. You kind
Mm,
of need a cleanse
yeah.
so the line form doesn't ignore the shield and does counterattack.
Hmm.
So you absorb more damage, but it's really tricky. I've been struggling with this one a lot. I think Snick Track might be a good one
Ooh.
um,
Okay. Yeah,
because
that's
he's
cool.
also reflecting damage, which is not part of this week now, but on trials number 3, this is also something that is really hard to do, and
Yeah.
there are not a lot of champions that have Pain Link, for example, right?
No,
We do
no.
have this new Toad.
Hmm.
I don't know the name right now, but he has the Pain Link debuff, but it just doesn't do enough for
Yeah.
some reason. I don't know why it is,
Mm.
but most people just use Gizmak for that, for example, right?
Yeah. What,
And he's
so
like the
I
only.
I was looking into it. I didn't realize that at all. And my chat actually told me on one of the live streams that Gizmak, his one is reflecting 75% of the damage, whereas a normal Pain Link debuff is only, I think it's only 15%.
Okay.
So his is literally, yeah, 15%. His is 5 times stronger just
Jeez.
for reasons. So
There you go. That's why.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, why is this 5 times stronger? So there's no point in any other Paling champion. It just doesn't do
Exactly.
anything. Okay, cool, great. Bizarre. Yeah, that's definitely something they could improve. I'm looking at this for me for this week. So for this week, this one is not too bad. I will probably use. That's actually, yeah. I think Lydia, get her into toxic set. Like if I'm building my team for this week. Oh, actually, one little tip. I don't remember. I think it may be in my clan. Someone was saying it for this one. One sneaky thing you can do, because as you said, you want to be removing the Hunter's Gaze debuff to trigger the counterattacks hit your shield. Um, if you've got Mikage on your team, she's got okay base attack, and she removes all debuffs from the ally at the highest attack. I think she can remove it from herself. So you can have her just be really fast and decent attack if you're running something like Titus, who's got no attack anyway. And she just keeps cleansing herself and keeps getting counterattacked. Or, yeah, you could potentially do it. Someone needs the highest defense and the highest attack. So they keep getting the debuff and then you keep removing it. And that can be kind of you could have it with anyone with her, but yeah, kind of a sneaky little strategy could work. But yeah,
That's cool.
I'm looking Lydia in a toxic set, and great. Now I'm actually able to do damage. That's cool. Brimstone, I think for me, does this one well enough. If you get lucky and land it at the right time, depends how good your blessings are. Um, and I could do this with Titus or whoever. That's not too bad. Let's see. What other mythicals? Block damage and killable. I think I'll skip this one myself, but we'll see. So that's my thoughts for here. Over here,
How?
Oh, sorry.
How
Yes,
are
go on.
you going to like the one on like on the first one, the dual bar? How are you planning to do this one?
Uh,
Because
I'll probably use Titus. Titus can,
Titus,
yeah, Titus can one shot it because he's Titus, right?
yeah,
It's pretty
but
tricky otherwise. Yeah.
how are you gonna keep the the dual bar? Like you have to
Mm.
let your champion survive. Is that with the shield? I've never used Titus in Chimera, so
Ah.
I'm
So this team
definitely
works.
curious.
Now, the issue with this team is that the decreased speed from Krisk is incredibly unreliable. So each run you try goes totally differently because it's on his A1. But basically, Krisk will build him lowest crit damage and he gets targeted. And then when he gets smacked, he places decreased attack on the ram and it stops it. So he's really easy to keep alive. And he's bringing buff extension as well and decreased speed. So yeah, he's okay. But yeah, it's really difficult. I don't know. How do you keep people alive with the jewel? It's not easy.
Yeah, it is not easy. The way I'm doing it is most of the time with our base.
Okay.
Uh, I just it's a little bit tricky because you have to swap. Normally, I use her in the like in the first form, but I make her the lowest crit damage,
Hmm.
obviously, and then right before I go into the ramp form, I have her swap forms and put up the stone skin, so she would keep the dual bar up and survive
I
the
like it.
attack.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, very cool. Does the taunt force him to target her, or does it go off crit damage anyway?
No, it's off crit damage. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but just the stone skin, she lives. That's sick. I think another one I've used for this, not accessible, but Fina, right? Block damage
There we
stops
go
it.
again.
Yeah, there you go. If you're using the Helicath could stop it with the block damage as
True.
well.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's that. I'm sure there's some unkillable champions. Theodosia would do it, I guess. But yeah, I guess you could probably do it with the stone skin as well. But it's not easy. I personally I hate the ram form with a passion, man. I just
Yeah.
despise this form. Oh, it's so bad. The rest of them are
It's one
fine.
of the it's one of the most annoying ones for sure.
Yeah. And what sort of damage dealers would you recommend for this? Like obviously I said Titus is ridiculous. Anyone else apart from Titus? Say, yeah, I've got my R base, I've kept my jewel up. How am I actually smashing through?
Yeah, so most of the time I'm using Mikage plus Shadowkin,
Hmm.
Nuker. I started off with Ninja for a very long time. I used Ninja. Then sometimes, depending on the affinity or the team comp, I used Harima too, which was surprisingly similar to Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, recently I pulled the Toshiro, so now I'm
Ooh,
you
nice.
know cycling those three kind of
I
depending
like
on
it.
what's better.
Yeah, they're cool. Like I've used an ogre as well. Ninja's cool because he has decreased defense and burn, so that opens up a couple of trials. Harima has the decreased attack, a couple of trials, and she probably actually helps you stay alive against the lion form as well if people are struggling there because he's got a lot of ignore defense. I've used an ogre. She brings the weaken, leech, decrease attack, increase speed. She brings a lot, but her damage is quite a bit worse than the others. And then obviously Toshiro, yeah, he's just generally extremely good. Uh, I I don't know if Leo's A1 is that strong. He might be an interesting option for people though. I don't know. Have you tested him at all? You probably don't have him, and you
I
probably
don't
didn't
have
get
him.
test server for
Don't
him
have him yet.
yet. Not yet. I will look forward to see you test him out. You have to test him on Chimera. We have to see. We have to see what
Will do.
happens. But yeah, cool. I think I'll probably go for Titus unless I would be locked out of other trials. Using Ninja is a lot harder because Titus is great because you just save his A2 until the true fear is out, and then his A1 doesn't do much. So it's like he'll be fine. Whereas with Ninja, it's like if Ninja even looks at the Chimera and there isn't a true fear, he's just like, I'm just dead. Sorry, guys. I'm out.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's a bit rough. So that
It's kind
one,
of kind of similar to like max HP hitters, right? Like for
yeah,
example, sometimes I also use Nude or Marius, and if they use the A1, it's not that bad, right? They don't do
yeah,
a lot of damage, so they don't get a lot of reflected. So you can set it up. You have time to set it up to use the max HP hit, which is probably kind of what you're doing with Titus.
yeah. I'm actually seeing I do need burn this time. Block buffs and burn. So that's Lydia covers the block buffs. and the block active skills, but the burn and shield break. So yeah, we need to get a burn in there. Interesting. So
So that's probably gonna be Ninja in your case.
yeah, it's probably gonna have to be Ninja, not Titus. God help me. All right, that makes it a lot harder, but doable perhaps. But yeah, it probably will have to be. Where's Lydia? Am I blind? So like, if I'm looking at my team, another thing you could do for this, which I've seen people do, is instead of using Mikage, bring in a Farrakhan. You lose the buff
Oh yeah.
extension, but he's great. You've still got the for trials, right? You still have the increased crit rate and both of them, in fact, which is one of the trials. Burn and poisons. The poisons might help you a bit with the poison trial. He brings that burn, backup decreased defense. He's actually shows up quite a bit in some teams, so he could be a cool option for people who don't have the ninja. Instead of being like whatever Mikage and ninja, you could do Farrakhan and well, actually anyone because you don't need it to be Shadowkin. You could do whatever. Michelangelo might be pretty decent as well. He covers a lot of stuff.
Yep.
Accessible option for everybody at the moment. 5-star as well. So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, this week doesn't seem too bad, though I am concerned about needing that burn. But yeah, do you have any idea for what team you're gonna run for this week?
Yeah, I'm probably gonna try something like Mikage, Lydia, Ninja, and then for a reviver,
Yeah.
probably Galathier, and then
Yeah,
Honey
why
Cat.
not? Why not? Yeah, that's
No,
if I had
probably
him, I
gonna
would use him.
people probably gonna ask, who can we replace Galathier with?
Yeah,
Sorry, guys.
yeah. I mean, that's
Gonna be
yeah. We were
tough.
saying I think before we started recording, but it's a tricky thing. You almost need to build an entire custom team from scratch every week because oftentimes you might like, for example, like my derpy team from last week, wherever it was, you say, Nub, who can I replace in this team? And it still works. And it's like, well, if you kind of take out anyone, it sort of just breaks. I mean, you could replace her with Galathier. That's helpful, isn't it? Um, but you take out any of the rest of them and it kind of just breaks.
Yeah.
And it's the same with a lot of, and this team's not even that amazing, right? But like you take any of the really good teams, it's like, whereas with Hydra, you can go, yeah, we can replace them with them and them with them. And Chimera, because of all the trials, it's like, well, if we take out Sin Ogre, that's just broken. Now we don't have weaken for that trial, and now we've got no damage for the trials, and yeah, it's just kind of busted. You could put in Ninja, but it's not quite the same for the
You could
trials. You're missing out on decrease attack as well, so it's like, that's another trial gone plus survivability. Not so good. So yeah,
you could actually replace Mikage with Fina. So I think that would
that's
be
true. There you go.
an option right there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. You could.
it might be easier to keep Ninja alive that way, right?
You could. Yeah, I did briefly try it. All right. And honestly, the problem I have, I've got the lazy problem, which is you have to manual her A2 every time, and I'm like, I could just use Mikage and auto this thing. So that's what I do. I'm so lazy, but I mean, this is every week. It's a lot, twice a week. And yeah, so it's terrible to say, but although I've got Fina, I almost never use her. Yeah, if I
Wow.
pulled a Galathier raid, if you're watching, you want to give me a Galathier in the next mythical pulls, that'd be cool. I would use her more then. I'd be a Fina promoter if you want. But
Yeah, give him a Galathier and me a Fina. And
yeah, there we
good.
go. It works out. But yeah, guys, we will jump over now to Snackbox's channel and we will talk more in depth about this stuff. If you've enjoyed the discussion, if you want to go further, we will see you there. And again, for all your Chimera needs and obviously other content as well, make sure to check out Snackbox's channel. Make sure to like and subscribe. As like a newer creator, all the support makes a huge difference. Snackbox, anything you want to say here at the end of the video?
Yeah, just thank you for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. Was enjoying it very much, and you're a very positive guy. Really enjoyed talking to you. And yeah, that's about it.
You didn't see me doing those Chimera runs last week, flipping the table. Oh my god, regroup, get out of here. Yeah, but there we go. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.